Long before we had tech billionaires and overnight crypto fortunes, there was a completely different kind of power. It was quiet, it was inherited, and it was literally built into the stone walls of castles that are still standing today. This is the world of old money, where wealth wasn't just made in a flash, but was grown carefully over centuries, passed from one generation to the next. Okay, so that brings up a huge question, right? In a world where fortunes come and go so fast, how on earth does one family manage to keep its wealth and influence not just for 100 years, but for nearly 1,000? What's the secret? Well, we're going to try and uncover that secret by digging into the playbook of the Cavendish family. You might know them better as the Dukes of Devonshire. Their story is woven right into English history, and they've become, really, the ultimate case study in how to survive. Now, here's what's so fascinating. Their survival was no accident. While a lot of other dynasties just faded into the history books, the Cavendishes, they adapted. They turned their incredible homes into more than just museums. They made them living, breathing symbols of how old money actually works by meshing the past with the very real practical needs of today. So, what's rule number one in their playbook? Well, it all boils down to one simple thing. It's not the art, not the titles, not the jewels, it's the land. For centuries, land has been the ultimate bedrock of wealth. Why? Because it's real, it produces stuff, and unlike a stock, it can't just disappear overnight. And believe me, the Cavendishes understood this better than anyone. Just let that number sink in for a second. 35,000 acres. And that's the size of just one of their estates, Chatsworth. And we're not talking about a big backyard here. This is basically a small kingdom, a meticulously managed economic engine. And this table here, wow, it just lays out their strategy perfectly. Look at this. The main estate, that's for tourism. The West Estate is all about conservation and biodiversity, which, by the way, brings in grants. Then you've got Shottle, providing that steady, reliable income from dairy farms. Staveley mixes industry with forestry. And Scarcliffe is just massive-scale food production. Every single part has a job to do. It's a diversified, self-sustaining system that can pretty much ride out any financial storm. But, land by itself isn't quite enough. The second, and maybe most critical piece of the Cavendish playbook is this idea of constant, almost ruthless adaptation. They evolved through smart marriages, they rebuilt from absolute disaster, and they were always thinking generations down the line. This timeline really tells the story. In 1753, a strategic marriage gets them Lismore Castle in Ireland. Then, in 1871, Holker Hall burns to the ground. Do they give up? No way. They rebuild it, even grander than before. Fast forward to 1981, they're facing huge modern taxes, so they create the Chatsworth Trust, a brilliant financial move. And then in 2005, they turn part of an ancient castle into a cutting-edge art gallery. The lesson is simple. You evolve or you fade away. Let's zoom in on that Lismore Castle story for a second. Its big transformation was all driven by the sixth Duke, who was known as the Bachelor Duke. He poured an insane amount of his own money and, frankly, his obsession into turning this castle into a theatrical Gothic revival masterpiece. He basically wanted to create a medieval fantasy, but with all the modern bells and whistles, all dramatic arches and spires. He hired this genius designer, Joseph Paxton, and together they created this romantic fortress that was just a pure statement of ambition. So here's the really crucial point. Each of these estates had a different job to do. It's so smart. Chatsworth was the big, grand statement of power, designed to impress everyone. Lismore was that romantic Irish fortress. Compton Place was the quiet, discreet hub for political maneuvering. Holker Hall became a symbol of resilience, a real home, rebuilt to be lived in. And Bolton Abbey? That was their public face, an open, beautiful landscape for everyone to enjoy. And all of this leads us to the real key to their survival today. These places are not dusty old museums, frozen in time. Not at all. They are dynamic, working businesses, constantly being reinvented for the future. And you can see exactly how they're doing it right here. Their modern strategy really has 4 key parts. First, they throw the doors open to the public. Bolton Abbey alone gets over 400,000 visitors a year. Second, they empower the next generation, like passing the torch at Holker Hall to Lucy Cavendish to lead it into the future. Third, they fuse the past with the present. That Lismore Art Gallery is a perfect example. And finally, they are the backbone of their communities, running farms, local businesses, and big events. They make heritage an active, living business.
So, after navigating nearly 1,000 years of wars, taxes, and just massive societal change, what are the big lessons we can pull from the incredible story of the Cavendish family?
It really comes down to this one powerful idea. Their survival wasn't about lavish parties and just throwing money around. It was built on a foundation of careful planning, incredible patience, and a deep-seated willingness to adapt to reality. It's about being pragmatic, not just privileged. So here it is, the entire playbook boiled down to 5 simple rules. Rule number 1, your foundation is land. 2, diversify absolutely everything, your assets, your income, everything. 3, evolve or you will fade away, guaranteed. 4, turn your history, your heritage, into a real functioning business. And finally, rule number 5, open your doors. Don't hide your legacy away. Share it. And that leaves us with one final thought. I mean, sure, we've been talking about castles and dukes, but these principles are totally universal. So the question is, whether it's for a family, a business, or even just a creative project, what can this ancient playbook teach all of us about building something that truly, genuinely lasts?